Welcome back to the final video on my channel. Well, I'm about 50% sure this is going to be my final video on this channel. I tried to make this video 2 days ago. Then I deleted it while I was uploading it. Tried to make this video yesterday. Then I deleted that before uploading it. We will try to make this fast as possible, and I will tell you a lot of facts. And at the very end of this video, I will use philosophy to identify where this is all headed. The reason being why I deleted this twice now, and this is the third time I'm making this final video on my channel, is because two reasons. One, and most importantly, I am somewhat scared for my safety. Two, I don't think you guys are worth telling. So I'm going to refrain from saying a lot of stuff in this video, but I have knowledge that I got from a source 3.5 to 4 months ago that you cannot find on the internet. And I was told not to tell anyone. I hate being the guy to say, I have information, I'm just not allowed to tell you. But I am truly scared for my situation, and I don't think that you guys deserve to know half the truth. But there are things that I can tell you. I feel like I can tell you these things, and who knows, maybe it'll help you. But it's a 50-50 chance that this is my final video on this channel. 50-50. And there's a very, very small chance, maybe a 5% chance, that I'm going to, in about 6 months from today, what's today, the 7th or something? August 7th, so it would be, what, like February 7th. There's a 5% chance I'm going to come back on February 7th and apologize to everybody. And there's a huge percentage chance this will just be taken down anyways, this video. And you guys will never see it. Alright. 3.5 minutes into this video, you guys are like, dude, you haven't even started the video yet. This is not like you. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about what's going on right now. Let's talk about the stock market. The stock market is declining at a very, very, very exponential rate. A margin of decrease that's alarming. There are corporations, for example, like Bank of America, that's calling this an emergency. JP Morgan is saying that this is going to be a trend that's not going to stop. Now, you guys can look up all the stuff online about this stuff. This video will take way too long if I dive into all the aspects of the scams, the whole thing that's going on. Japan has banks that bailed them out of this to prevent a collapse or recession. there is devaluation of the stock, which is devaluing the dollar. Yes, the yen was saved, but now the yen's going to have to deal with inflation. I can dive into all that shit. That's not what this video is about. The point is, stock in the global market is going on a downward trend, and it's not going to stop. That's important. The power of your dollar is not going to stop with inflation and the power of the dollar decreasing. It's a double whammy to the dollar. Because now, I mean, we can dive into that all day long. The point is, the dollar is collapsing. Inflation's going up. The problem here isn't a recession. Recessions are normal. The problem is inflation. And inflation's going to continue. The Bank of China bailed out, the Bank of Japan bailed out Japan. The Bank of America and the Federal Reserve is not going to bail out America. It's not going to happen. So just expect the problems to continue in the global market as well as the dollar. Those are facts. What I told you right there are facts. I'm going to keep telling you facts, and at the end we'll talk about things about those facts that I believe is 90%, 95% chance of happening, how I'm going to detail it. If you make it to the end of this video, this might be very long. My video yesterday went over an hour and a half. I'm trying to condense this and not tell you everything. So, that's a fact, though. The global markets are collapsing. The power of your dollar is collapsing with a double whammy, not just inflation, your power of your dollar. It's getting bad. So, there's also the housing market crash. Everyone is selling now. They're calling 2024 one of the worst housing crashes since the recession, since 2008. They're saying that there's proof of this with the price of houses being so high, inflation, your power of the dollar, your power of putting your money into banks or the market is all declining. And you're not going to have any reward for doing so. Now, the power, your purchasing power towards housing is going down. Everyone's going to be selling this year by the end of the year. And these things are all coming at once. And I think it's very important to talk about each and every one of these things. However, they would need their own video to get through. But let's skip ahead. These are facts that I'm telling you right now. You can look up anything that I'm telling you because I don't have time to go into all of this in detail. Millennials and younger. I'm a millennial. They're calling 2024 the mass exodus on quitting jobs. Everyone's quitting their jobs. It's a new trend if you look it on YouTube and TikTok and whatever, online. It's a huge trend of quitting your job. And millennials like me and younger are unable to afford a home. And if they do afford a home, or at least try to, they go into a mortgage, a 30-year long mortgage. And that leaves them living paycheck to paycheck, working. These are facts that I'm telling you. All-time low on buying homes. Power of your dollar going down. Inflation going up. The global market unable to produce any type of profits for the consumer. with this trend, which is going to continue, it's projected to continue, it's just going to get worse and worse. Now, before I continue, because there's going to be a lot of doom and gloom stuff in this video that I should have probably warned you about before. I don't like being doom and gloom. I'm just telling you facts right now that's going to lead to what we're going to be discussing at the end of this video. And there's a reason why I'm making this my final video. All right. So, millennials and younger are quitting their jobs at exponential rates, let alone people that are older than that. People are deciding to live in their vehicles, buy an RV, sell their home, travel the country. They're choosing essentially homelessness over working around the clock, paying for a mortgage. Everyone's selling now. It's going to be tough to sell because the market is going to be flooded in selling. And of course, this trend is because of many different reasons. Many different reasons that we don't have time to get into. I'll just name a few. People are lazy. People don't find it effective or not effective, valuable to be working all day long, at least 40 hours a week, to have their home empty all day so they can come home at the end of the day, end of the workday, just to be able to sleep in their bed. People are looking at that and being like, this isn't life, this is slavery. So they are choosing homelessness. Homelessness is skyrocketing. From living in tents to living in their car or truck or van to buying an RV and traveling the country and living in your RV to just living out in the elements. The point is, homelessness is skyrocketing, and there's really no way out of it. People are selling all their stuff and choosing to be homeless. It's a mass exodus out of their jobs, and mostly for younger people. Yes, there is an aspect of laziness, and there's a trillion different aspects about this, and there's tons of them. I'm just giving you a few true reasons why people are doing this. People are doing it because of their health. People are doing it because they don't want to they don't want to run the rat race anymore. Okay. So housing's going down. Money's going down. Purchasing power is going down. Ownership's going down. There's a million things that are really degrading at an alarming rate when it comes to your power for purchasing things, ownership over your property, etc. And it's very important to highlight these things. Shit, we're already 14 minutes into this. All right. Okay, I know where to transition here. Population density. The population is still going like this. You don't really know this. Give me a second. You don't really know this. But this was all designed. And there was, in population control, They've been controlling the world's population for thousands of years. Now that isn't a fact. That's not something you can look up on Google. But I'm going to start giving you facts now. History books. If you want your name cemented in history, immortalized, forever popularized, forever in the history books, after you die, your name will be immortalized. What do you have to do? What makes you immortalized in history? You have to murder / kill more people, many people. The Genghis Khans, the Alexander the Greats. If you want your name to be great and cemented in history, the best way to go about that, and no one's ever going to forget about you, is you have to murder the most amount of people. There are two ways, and we'll get to this further later. I'm just remembering to tell you now. There's two ways that for thousands of years they have controlled the population. One, war. Two, disease. Number one is war. So who is popularized in the history books? And who is glorified in the history books? The Genghis Khans, the Hitlers, the etc., right? We can dive into that all day, but we're trying to make this video progress faster. There are people that have controlled the world's population for thousands of years, making sure that it's never ever reaching anywhere near where it is now. They are so far behind on controlling the population that they are perfecting it now to make it happen, because they have failed since the 18th century. Or sorry, the 19th century, the 1800s. So, believe it or not, we were given, I'm saying we vaguely, humanoids, but the elite were giving 10 commandments on how to control humanity. You can find this in the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones, when they were there, had 10 unique commandments on how to maintain humanity on the planet of Earth. Rule number one, commandment number one, was to keep humanity under 500,000. Or 500 million. Jeez. I'm a little scatterbrained right now because I'm trying to get through this. In the 1800s, they surpassed that threshold. And they've always been able to get the job done prior. It was a lot easier prior to the 1800s and the Industrial Revolution. We can talk about all that technology and you know, anyway. They have failed. They have used things like plagues, influenza, the Spanish flu. They have tried things like that. They have tried World War I, which was supposed to be the Great War to reduce the population. That was the whole objective. But World War I happened, and that is fact. World War II happened. They were successful in some things, but in tearing down the world's population, they weren't successful. Now, after World War II, they chose to go about it another way. They started poisoning your food. They started telling people to use condoms. Planned Parenthood became popularized. Abortions became popular. The day after pill. They started to try whatever they could to keep you from populating this planet any further. They tried. Those are facts. They tried to make it scary to bring a child into this world. They have basically tried their damnedest. They created the baby boomer generation and tried to say that there's too many kids. We have to go to these measures to depopulate and make sure that people are not breeding anymore. They have done many different things. They have destroyed the testosterone in men. And we can go down that rabbit hole all day long. We don't have fucking much time. This is my final video. We got to get through it. You can look up all this stuff online. They're not hiding this. This is fact. Bill Gates in his TED Talk. Fast forward all the way to 2015. This is a very popular quote. Bill Gates said, and mind you, fact, Bill Gates is descendants of the people that started Planned Parenthood. Fact, Bill Gates is very, very, very much into the whole depopulation thing. He's Mr. Depop, a lot of people call him. The king of pop was Michael Jackson. The king of Depop is Kill Gates. But Kill, aka Bill Gates, Kill got popular into viruses. He got into, for example, computers, and then creating viruses, and then creating the antivirus. It was very profitable. Then he started doing this in humans. And again, became very profitable. But that's not the goal. The goal of the diseases that are created in labs, which is fact, have been going on for a while. But Kill has his money and his energy into these things. In 2015, he had a TED Talk. He said that the population is at 8 billion people, and it's headed toward 9 billion. And if he's really good with his healthcare services, reproductive services, and vaccinations, he can reduce the population 10 or 15%. That's his words. That's a quote from him. And of course, let's be honest here, even an average day person is kind of pissed off about being stuck in traffic. There's too many fucking people in this world, right? And let's be honest here. Let's be fucking honest. The world's population is too much, and the world would be a better place if it was down to less than 500 million people. The world would be a better place. Straight up. It's there. We can argue it if you want, but let's be honest. If you aren't coming to that conclusion because of principles or morals or whatever, then you're being a little delusional. I have morals. I'm against killing and murdering and poisoning the population with food and fake foods, and they don't want you to eat meat anymore. They want you poisoned because if your immune system is devastated, they can use other things to fill that gap and destroy your health. Bill Gates in that 2015 TED Talk. Why was he talking about the coronavirus? Well, Pirbright Institute in the UK is one of his labs. And they have tons of coronaviruses that are mutated for human consumption. They created, and I knew this back in 2009 when I studied virology, I knew they were creating this stuff because I studied this stuff. But in 2009, I found out that there were 7 coronaviruses for human consumption. Now, prior to the 1960s, there were 0 human coronaviruses that can infect humans. Zero. It didn't exist until the patents, until the invention. Prior to the 1960s, they created it for canines. But in the 60s, they created it for humans. Those are facts. Go look up the patents. They created those. And from the 60s till the 2010s, the 2020s, it went from 0 to 100 in releasing this out into the public. See, the coronavirus, and you can Google all of this stuff, the coronavirus is the second most common cold in America. Second to rhinoviruses. How did you go from having zero infected people, zero people that are affected by this, to the number 2, more than 90, some would argue 95% of all the people in the United States affected by coronaviruses in just a few decades? 90 to 95% have been affected by coronaviruses for human consumption. They released different variants in America, and I've talked about this, but my video keeps getting taken down for it. And we don't have time to talk about this all day. But the point is, they create these and they release it out in the public after they've been poisoning your food, reducing your immune system strength. And they can infect you very easily and hurt you. And it's all to do with the immune system, which is number 2 way of depopulating the planet. Number 1 is war. Throughout all time, you can look this up. Number 1 form of mass murder and deaths, not deaths, but killing and murder, is war. Number 2 is plagues. So, Bill Gates, like I said before, is going to be immortalized in the history books. Because he wants to be immortalized and wants to have all the praise for this, because he's the king of Depop. He's already killed millions of people worldwide, and this is prior to 2020. He already killed millions of people worldwide. And this number's just skyrocketing. If you look at where his money went to how many people have died, he's the king. He's the new king. He's beyond Stalin. He's beyond Mao. And he's definitely beyond Alexander the Great. This guy's cemented in history as being the leader of murder of all time. And that just so happens to be what they are planning. This all boils down to what is known as the Great Reset. And no, this isn't Klaus Schwab's plan. Yes, the World Economic Forum is run by BlackRock. Yes, their goal of the World Economic Forum is that you'll own nothing and be happy. But that doesn't just happen overnight. There's one important way that they have to go about this in order for the people to go about this. That they will not eat meat anymore, and their power of their dollar can't be there. There has to be less people on the planet. Much less. I was arguing for years when I first heard about the World Economic Forum and their plans for people. I said the only way that this can happen is they would have to depopulate the planet 90% and enslave the rest. That's the only way. And then, boom, that's what's happening. See, what is happening, and I didn't bring this up yet, is that they are going to create a World War III. And this has been in the works for many years. Both sides of war have been funded throughout history. Every war in history has been funded by both sides. To both sides, I mean. For a specific outcome. a specific agenda. You're seeing what's going on in Israel. You've seen what's going on with Israel provoking and attacking Iran. I'm going to give you a little snippet of what I'm not allowed to tell you. But this is what I can tell you. You can formulate the rest. I was told 3.5 to 4 months ago, and you can't find this anywhere on the internet. There's nothing you can look up to find this because it's not allowed on the internet. And that's why I'm very skeptical about telling you. I was told 3.5 to 4 months ago from my source that I'm never going to see again, but I still respect enough to not talk about. And I hate being that person. I got a source I can't talk about. This is really the situation, and I apologize for that. And I hate when I hear other people tell me this, because I think that they're lying right away, right? Because you're talking about it. But I was told to look out for many different things, but these two specific things is going to change the world forever. One, the stock market's going to crash, and the global markets are going to start crashing. When you see it starting to crash, look for Iran's retaliation on Israel. This is what I was told 4 months ago. Iran has not retaliated yet, but everyone's looking forward to it now. So everyone, the global stage, is looking for it, because this is going to change the world forever. Now, I've talked about that, right? Understand this. There are 1 billion people that claim to be Muslim. There are 1 billion people that claim to be Christian. I'm just going to condense it and say there's 1 billion people that are going to be involved on the front lines between the Israel and Iran, Israel and Iran, their war. They're going to want to be involved one way or another. On top of that, there are tons of people that are going to be looped into this. In fact, 60% of the world global population will be looped in one way or another. By means of who's allies with who. So Iran has the Russia-China thing. Israel has the European Union and the United States. Essentially, East versus West. Essentially, China versus US. Essentially, left versus right. And you're going to have to pick a side if you're not picking a side. That's what they're banking on right now. And that's what they're orchestrating right now. The whole thing is everyone's waiting. They're pushing and pushing and pushing for Iran, whatever you want to call it, tomato, to retaliate. I found out last night, that Iran was shutting down today all their government buildings and all of their banks. And sure enough, Israel attacked again. And you already know they already assassinated prime subjects in Hezbollah, etc. Now, I have refrained from talking about any of this on my channel, because there's plenty of people that are already confusing people out there on the internet. Why would I put my actual knowledge on this, my foregone knowledge on this, on the internet? Makes no sense, because I'm going to be fact checked by people that claim to know and are experts. We've already talked about experts on this channel. And there's a reason why I brought up experts on this channel. Watch that video. So, this is what they are going to do, because they are very, very good. They are experts, true experts, at being able to loop you in with shit that shouldn't concern you. There's going to be a huge World War III. And I've talked about this for years. I've known about this for years. In fact, I knew that the majority of this stuff was going to happen 30 years ago. 30. I'm going to be turning 38 in a couple months. 3 months. The point is, I knew about all this stuff, and I prepared for all this stuff. I just found out that it was coming sooner than later. This will all happen. Everything that I said, the true beginning of the Great Reset is after World War III. I might as well bring up all these little minute, not minute, but actually grand details that you think is probably minute. But I might as well bring up things like Jade Helm. Operation Jade Helm happened over a decade ago, or around a decade ago. I don't remember when. It was the U.S. military teaching China how to invade the United States through Texas. They were teaching them. A year later, they taught Chinese military how to invade Miami, downtown Miami. They trained them. Now that was a decade ago, but why would they be training them? People just forget. And I think that was the whole reason why they did it. Because the average person, like the conspiracy theorists and the Alex Joneses, they all talked about this, and they're not talking about it anymore. So it gets out of the average person's head. They forget about it. But there's a reason why they did that. There's a reason why there are a bunch of military-aged men, Chinese men, that don't speak a lick of English, that are all south of the border right now. And there's a reason why all these men are in camps that are not with everybody else. See, everybody else, the immigration control is putting into one camp, and the Chinese in a whole other camp. What are you doing, retard? Man, they're such bad drivers. Anyway. Oh, we're 40 minutes into this and we're not done. Alright. So, Dr. Phil, the Brett Weinsteins, even the YouTubers like Bald and Bankrupt, all exposed that there's Chinese in their own camps. And everyone else that are trying to cross the border and get through immigration are all, whether they were from Africa or the South America or South Korea, doesn't matter. If you're from another country other than Chinese, male, military-aged men, if you're other than that, you get your own camp to get through, and there's a different set of rules for the Chinese. The UN is very knowledgeable about this. The world governments are very knowledgeable about this. And there are people like Dr. fucking Phil who expose this to the mass population of the world that this is going on. Right? So this is going on The UN's letting it, in fact, essentially enforcing it to happen like this. What do you think's going down there? Right when World War III is about to start. As soon as Iran, and this is what I was told, as soon as Iran retaliates, the world as you know it's going to be different. It's going to be too late. If you're not prepped by then, it's too late. It's too late to obtain knowledge. It's too late to start having your own gardens and chickens and your means of survival and filtering your water. It's too late to learn anything. If you don't have firearms and know how to use it, it's too late. It's too late. In 3.5, 4 months ago, my assumption was, well, okay, we're not even to that point yet. The global market, it's going to be a while before that decelerates. Of course, I knew about the inflation thing. I knew that this was all going to happen 3.5, 4 months ago, that it was going to happen very soon. That's what I was told. And I assumed it wasn't going to happen till and I even said this on my channel that I got this knowledge, but I still didn't tell you. I expected this all to happen in February, in March, late winter. I thought it was going to be the cold winter they were talking about, or whatever they were calling it. I thought it was that. So I had a lot of assumptions, and then all of a sudden this all happened real quick. The goal is the Great Reset. The only way the Great Reset can happen is out of a huge catastrophe. They're funding both sides of the war. There's a reason why China has a huge presence in America now, in the Americas. And there's military-aged men ready to deploy. There's a reason why they were teaching them 10 years ago how to invade Texas and Florida. Then 2020 happened. The mass exodus out of California, New York, and all the other bullshit. Oh my God. Come on, retard. Because you matter more than everyone else. Oh God, we're too far into this video. What was I saying? Fuck. Give me a second. I wish I can rewind. Figure out what I was saying. Oh, okay. 2020 happened. Oh my God, you just wasted my fucking time. I knew you were gonna do that too. Alright, 2020 happens. Then, what happened? Mass exodus out of California, New York, Michigan, all the bullshit states, right? And everyone started going down to Florida and Texas. 10 years ago, those were the toughest states to invade because everyone had a gun, everyone knew how to use it, everyone was patriotic. It was essentially impossible. Now, because of the mass influx of people going down there from states where people were confused about gender and they don't want to use guns, and they all moved down there to Texas and Florida, destroyed those places. Housing bubble now screwing up everybody. Everyone's selling. What is the goal there? It's a lot easier to invade. They have liberalized Texas and Florida. They have made it to a point where it's a lot easier. I'm not saying it's even, all I'm saying it's possible now, and it wasn't possible 10 years ago for China to invade. But because they taught them how to invade, the UN, the US military, everyone's letting China do this. We are in our soil. We're going to be a location that's part of this war. Everyone's going to be lumped into this war. There's going to be a huge depop agenda. The goal is with the Great Reset is that no one's going to own anything. The power of the dollar is going to collapse. Global monetary systems are going to fail. And it's designed to do so. The price of gold is skyrocketing. I can say that that's the only thing that's going up and appreciating in value. And what did I tell you? I made a whole video why you should not buy gold. And this is part of it. Because it's not going to help. When shit hits the fan and money's not a thing, tell me what store you're going to go into with your little lump of gold. And who's going to accept your gold? What farmer is going to take your gold? It's going to be paperweight. You're essentially wasting your money on it. And you're putting your faith in something that is going to be of no value to you. Which is actually creating all these monetary systems to fail. If you're a Christian, you know about 666. And if you watch my channel, which this was taken down on YouTube, but you can still find it on Odyssey. Thank God for Odyssey. There is a world patent from Microsoft, from Mr. Depop himself. A cryptocurrency system that rewards people based on heat signatures. So these heat signatures would identify you completing a task. When global markets, global money is failing, and they want you, and BlackRock's buying up all the properties, and no one's able to afford their housing anymore. This is all by design. No one owns anything. They are going to depopulate the planet and control the rest, enslave the rest. That's the goal. They call you useless eaters, and let's be honest. I think I already said this in this video. The world's a better place if 85 to 95% of you aren't here. You're useless eaters. You're not adding value to the world. You're part of the destruction of the world. And let's also be honest here. The UN, the people that really rule the world, it's not that they hate you. There is actually a good reason for all of this. And they have a responsibility to make the world a better place and to keep the population lower and to make the world a better place and preserve nature. Look at the UN. Look at governments worldwide trying to make sure that certain populations of animals are taken care of, that they're repopulating the endangered species. So there's no more animals that die and species that die. The UN and governments around the world are trying to fight back against ever-expanding deserts. And I've made it a thing on my channel where I told you that I have a plan of fixing the desert situation. The UN has this plan. There are Chinese governments in China controlling their deserts. The UN in the Sahara are actually controlling their deserts. The global government actually cares about the world. I know it's very tough even for me to say, but the facts are the facts. They are really concerned about preserving life on this planet. They have sections where you are allowed to live and where you're not allowed to live. Where you're allowed to do things and not allowed to do things. The reason being is because they're trying to make the world a better place. They're trying to control global forests and natural preservation. Or they want to preserve the nature. It's true. They want to make the world a better place. It is true. When they call you useless eaters, it's not because they hate you. when they try to murder you and poison you, it's not because they hate you. They have tried and tried and tried since the 19th century to reduce global populations without straight up murdering you. They have tried and tried and tried and tried. But they have to do what's best for the planet now. Oh, let's keep this under an hour. If you made it to this part of the video, please comment below. I am 50-50 if I ever make a video again. I am now, after giving you this information, I told you what I could tell you. There's a lot more to this story, and I can go on all day. I can make this a 5-hour video easily. I didn't go into detail with anything. But there are things to look out for. They have a great reset agenda. They are funding both sides of this war, and they're making it look like Israel is pushing Iran, and that's the whole goal. They're making it look like Putin is saying, don't fight back, Iran, because we're going to start a World War III if you do. If you attack, that's what their whole pushing narrative is. They're pushing and pushing and pushing. U.S. versus China over, why can't I think of it? Not Thailand. Where's that fucking, what's that island? Oh my God, I can't even think about it. I shouldn't have even brought it up. I'm having a brain fart. Whatever. They're having these conflicts in certain areas, and it's all going to spiral out of control as soon as Iran retaliates. That is the smoking gun for World War III. When World War III happens, everyone's forced to pick a side. The media is going to force you to pick a side because everyone's going to have proof that World War III is going on. Everyone's going to have to surrender to it. Everyone's going to be involved one way or another. It's going to show up on American soil. I told you about China and how they're making it a thing to overwhelm our military, overwhelm the populations. Once they get, I'm going to get too far where I can't tell you, but that is something I can tell you because that's just facts you can look up right now. Okay, I got to be careful in this part of the video, not telling you too much. But the truth is, this is their agenda. They need to make up for the last 200 years or so of failing their population control. They have to make up for it now. And it's going to be a big shebang. If you're a Christian, read Revelation. Realize that all of this stuff is happening right now. In fact, they talk about this in the Bible, about Persia attacking Israel. Boom, it's happening right now. And there's going to be the point of no return as soon as, and it could be happening right now. Could happen right now. I hope you're prepared. I hope you're ready for this. And this is my last video on this channel, most likely. So don't expect to see me again. But I hope that you take this information as facts. And then what I'm saying about the World War III thing, that is not a fact. However, I have prior knowledge to this, and I don't expect you to believe me, and I don't want you to believe me. But at least keep it in a realm in your head of filing it into a cabinet of extreme possibility. I do not want you to take my word for something that isn't fact. Because, again, you can't look this information up online. However, it's quite obvious if Iran strikes that it could spark a World War III. I think that's obvious, right? I think the whole world, global powers are telling you this. And you're going to see this on your news really soon. This could happen this week. It could happen 6 months from now. if this does not happen, if Iran doesn't spark World War III within 6 months of today, I'm going to come back onto this channel and I'm going to apologize to each and every one of you of saying, I'm sorry, my source was actually wrong. But I know it isn't. I know this is fact. I know it's fact. And I know that I'm not going to be apologizing to you guys in 6 months. But in February 7th, that's going to be the date. If World War III hasn't been sparked by then, I will come here and apologize. But again, I know that's not going to happen. But I've apologized once before about something. I will do it again. There's more of a reason to do it about this. I'm not here to doom and gloom you. I'm not here to scare you. I'm telling you the exact agenda. They have a great reset. How does that happen? They got to depopulate the planet. What's their goal? Depopulating the planet. They've tried and tried so many methods. Through wars, through pandemics, through condoms and Planned Parenthood. They have tried and told you and convinced you that you shouldn't be raising a child in this kind of climate. In 2024, you shouldn't be having children. They've convinced you and convinced you and convinced you and tried to force you to use condoms and have sex, have sex for fun. Use condoms. Don't do it to love your wife and to create children. Don't do that. You shouldn't be bringing a child into this world. And there's so many methods of birth control. They are trying their damnedest for 200 years without doing what they're going to be doing now. But now it's all led to this, and there is no way out of it. We are there. It's final. And that's what I have to tell you. I'm not telling you anything more, because I'm very, very tempted now to tell you more, and I'm not going to. I've told you enough. This is the real story, what's happening. And I'm the only one on the internet, the only one that can bring you this, because I truly have pre-knowledge of this. I have knowledge of this happening that no one else does. I was blessed, and I can't tell you enough about it, but I will. That is enough. Thanks for watching my videos. This is goodbye. I wish everybody luck. If you made it to the end of the video, comment below. And in this last 2 minutes, I will say, I am recruiting. If you are lazy, don't talk to me. If you have nothing to give in value, don't talk to me. However, if you're just lacking money, or if you just are lacking a group of people, we could use one more. We could use 2 more. We could use a few more. We need to get together, and no, not to be Minutemen or militia or anything like that, or a group that's uprising against the government. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is creating a community for survival, for strength, for security, for food, for filtering water, for everyone having a task. And if you are lazy, do not comment below about joining our group. I have people. I don't need you. But if you have some value to bring, if you have something that can bring to the table, if you are like-minded, if you have firearms and know how to use them, if you are willing to be a part of the group, a part of our community, I will open my arms to you. And that's enough for this video. That's enough for this channel. This is goodbye. I'm looking forward to the future as an optimist, and I'm wishing everybody luck. I'm wishing everybody well. See you guys for good.